The following Dungeons & Dragons Actual Play podcast is based on real events from the history of American crime. Some of this imagery might be upsetting. Listener discretion is advised.
Infinite power, infinite power, infinite power, infinite power, infinite power, infinite power. Infinite power.
So that happened.
So I hear about all the sounds. I hear the alarm in my head, and I tilt my head, and I hear the sound effect going on outside, and I continue doing what I'm doing. I have full faith in the team. I'm more concerned about Rusty sometimes than I am more about Penny. Then I proceed to start cataloging the illegal... Not cataloging like detailed, more cataloging as in, okay, alright, yeah, sure, and seeing if anything stands out to me going, ooh, that shouldn't be here. Like, more than just illegal drugs, like, ooh, or illegal items. It's like, ooh, why is that there?
Yeah.
You want me to roll?
Investigation.
17 plus 3. 20.
Okay. So you spot a lot of different, like, arcane focuses, or foci, whatever the correct plural is. Like different gemstones and stuff that they really don't have a lot of monetary value, but you can tell have a certain sort of magical charm about them. There are some rings, some jewelry, quite a few spellbooks that would be like the magic equivalent of the Anarchist's Cookbook. Pieces of spells that somebody was working on trying to develop but clearly aren't like fully realized yet, for all sorts of different like conjuration effects. There are spells in there about trying to summon demons and elementals. There is a few spells that seems like they would be like offensive in nature, so like a delayed blast fireball, for example. Some broken wands, some empty scroll tubes. Really, almost like a small secondhand magic item shop. Really, almost. Well, I take that back. Almost like a small library. Really.
Okay. I start looking at the spells that aren't completed type thing, just to see if anything looks like I'm looking to see if I can put together how he ended up upstairs dead, because there's like, is this connected specifically or very abstractly? I'm looking for clues to see if someone was in here type of situation, so spot around the room, looking to see if maybe someone was in here trying to go through it or get to this space. Was anything left in a hurry? Is there a cup of tea on the table type of situation?
Okay.
Things that were pulled out, what has more dust on it, what doesn't have more dust, what looks like it's been in that generic operating space.
I got you. Some Sherlock Holmes type of stuff.
Yes, 100%. Slowing down, talking to myself in my head, doing all the aspects.
Yep. So it's hard to tell in terms of like what's been, if anything's been disturbed, because there are some things that haven't been moved in a long time. Like there's a heavy layer of dust on some stuff. Other things, I mean, it's a dank basement, so it's kind of hard to tell like what's been recently used and what's not. And the place is kind of messy too. I think you would get the sense that clearly multiple people have been down here at once before. Like this is maybe some sort of a gathering spot or a meeting place.
Sure. What
else can I put in here to make this fun? A safe that was underneath the bar.
Yep.
Just like imagine like a classic like simple combination lock safe with the dial that spins on the front and the big handle that turns. It is bolted into the bar, and so you see like evidence of somebody trying to bust the safe out.
Okay.
The wood on the bar is kind of splintered in some places, but the bolts go through the wood into the floor, into the ground, and must be pretty deep. A crowbar nearby that seems like it was probably used in this. Yeah.
Okay. I'm spending my time split between reading over the broken spells, and then I'm going to go to the safe, pull out one of my handy-dandy lockpicking tool type sets that I have, specifically for when I have to do deep cover missions, and try to crack the safe.
Okay. I think that's a dex
In the name
check.
of investigation.
You're a cop. I mean, I don't know that there's due process in Backfire that would make you wait for a warrant. There's a body upstairs. Not even cold yet.
Everything down here is now evidence. Everything here is part of the problem.
Yeah. Yep.
Zephyra would probably take a look at the incomplete spells to try to see what he was trying to do with them.
Okay.
I give it like a quick read over. I know Arcana based on small things, but not enough to have that deep lead. So I look it over real quick and then I leave that to her.
Okay.
I step across the room into the safe.
Okay. Yeah, Solar doesn't really pick up anything, like it's magic stuff. Zephyra, looking at some of the spells, like it seems like some like experimental stuff, right? He's or somebody, whoever wrote this, is trying to come up with ways to contact other planes, trying to come up with ways to find people who exist outside of Backfire, which, as far as you know, is not possible. Like, the idea of a multiverse doesn't really exist here. As far as people in the city know, they are it. They're the only thing in existence. So some like pretty radical stuff. And then just trying to come up with, I like the idea of him trying to come up with like a way to improve upon existing spells, so like a more efficient magic missile, a more like stuff like that, right? A better healing spell, stuff like that. So just like minor improvements on stuff, kind of like a physicist, like playing with equations, but definitely some of this more like trying to contact other planes and conjuring elementals or beings from other realms of existence and things like that.
Okay. Is there anything here that looks like it would be useful for anything I'm trying to do?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Can I try to pocket some of it?
Yeah, make a sleight of hand check.
Is that against my passive, or because I'm not paying attention 100%?
Yeah, you're not paying attention.
16.
Yeah, so, yeah, you're good. What's Percy doing? Is he still upstairs?
Well, yeah, because now he's already made enough trouble for one instance, and he's got to ramp up if he wants to make more trouble. He doesn't quite feel like it, so he just waiting for results, because he knows he's got to actually explain himself. So, it's best not to, interrupt things any further.
Okay.
And dig more of a hole.
just wanted to check in, make sure everything was good.
Yeah.
So. Can you make a lockpick or a dex check for that lockpick? I think it's dex. I assume it's got to be dex.
Sure. 10.
Your pick doesn't break, but you're not successful.
Okay.
On it.
I will spend the next action round to inspect the box a bit more. Look for, put my ear against it, start pulling some,
Okay.
Ocean's 11 stuff, trying to start. I'm now rusty from Ocean's 11 and 12.
Yeah.
I got it. I know what I'm doing. So I'm going to sit there and spend a turn cycle prepping to do the next one with advantage. Is that possible?
So what we can do is just have you take 10 on it. So we're just going to say that the next 10 minutes are spent sort of meticulously trying to thread the needle with that lockpick. Right, well, I guess in this case, since it is a combination, like you've got your ear pressed against it, I imagine you have some kind of like horn, sort of looking thing pressed up against it.
Well, I have some magical requirements. So I just like amplify to hear like small noise, like how I track targets.
Yep.
From footsteps away. I'm now listening to the tumblers.
Okay, yeah, and so you're able to you're able to get it, and it pops open.
Sweet. Lift it, it swings out towards me. Mm-hmm. What do I see?
Inside there's a notebook, and sitting on top of the notebook is a potion.
Yep.
The liquid is clear, a little bit foggy, but mostly it's pretty clear. It's heavy though. It feels like the bottle feels heavy, the flask feels heavy.
I confirm that the top is very well secured.
Yeah,
I put it in my pocket. I have a bag of holding.
It's corked in there. Yeah, it kind of looks like a Legend of Zelda potion, but instead of red or green, it's just.
I'll pocket that for later, and I open up the book.
The book is is Tate's journal.
Sure.
It is a lot of again, in some cases he's rambling about like drama on set, right?
Yep.
Stuff that would be like ripe for variety.
Sure.
Debating
so
about like
is it a blackmail book?
No, I mean, so far from what you see, it's like a private journal. But as you're flipping through the pages, he seems to be getting more and more afraid. Like there's this almost like panic. His handwriting gets shakier.
Sure.
He mentions in a couple of places that he thinks he's being followed.
Sure.
He mentions in a couple of places that he has gotten some threatening letters regarding who to cast in this upcoming production, and he's mad because the letters don't specify who they want him to cast in this certain role. But he seems to know from the language, like from how it's written, he seems to know who's responsible for it, and he's genuinely afraid, I would say.
Did he has a journal. Is the journal like a bullet journal where he's got pieces put in there? He's got clips of the letters or copies of the letters in there. You know, are the artifacts or things, or is it all just scribbles?
It's just a composition.
Okay.
Yep. Just a simple journal like that.
Well, we'll take this as evidence. This shows that he has been putting himself in a high state of paranoia, and then the agent was somewhat on par with the argument of, hey, I need to check for a couple things have been going sideways. So we now have two collaborating evidence pieces. The downside is that I need to get upstairs back to that library and start ripping apart that room before papers start disappearing. I did a room more check around for anything else that sticks out to me.
So, again, just to remind you that there was that sort of magazine on his desk that you saw with certain actors' names circled. Just to remind everybody, it was Marissa Bonaventure, Rachel Honeychurch, Nora Humiston, and Mary Margaret O'Malley. And through O'Malley, he had drawn a big X and written McKinley, and then scribbled that out.
Yep.
So you've got names, you got this journal about him being threatened, and so you come up the stairs, and there is Percy standing by himself in the study.
I give Rusty the good cop, bad cop vibe signal that we do when we have to interrogate. I let him start the bad cop row. Basically trying to figure out, double checking. I'm basically having him put himself in the stance. And as Rusty is getting sizing up, getting ready to get back into the swing, I go, all right. So, what's your situation here? What brought you here?
Okay, all right. So Percy just kind of gives it a moment to figure out how much he wants to say, because we know his backstory, but now does he say the whole thing? And he goes, okay, all right, straight up, get off on the wrong foot. My name is Percy Graves, and some bad stuff happened with me and my family. Some stuff I can't explain. And I was wondering if there was magic involved in what took place today, so I could get to the bottom of it. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay, so I have some questions.
Okay.
Step 1, does any of the things that happen to your family involve, and I point at the dead body on the floor?
Not that I know of, unless their name's written here.
Okay. Step 2, was this recent? Was this 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 100 years ago? What made today, right now, the time you needed to come talk to a cop? Specifically, you didn't even come to talk to a cop. You came to yell at cops about what could be going on in the room. That's suspicious. Rusty, chuckles.
Just the nature of the crime.
Have you seen this kind of crime before? For the viewers at home, there was a weird-looking kind of explosion burn type of situation. Looks like it was done in a way that made it impossible to figure out where the angle came from and why it was placed this way, right?
Right. Let's see. So Percy goes, takes a look at the body. He says, no, but I wanted to see if there was an identical body, because then I'd have a lead on what happened to me.
I sit there and think on that when I go into like I've seen some things. I've been in some places. I've done some deep missions. I've never had the identical body situation happen right now. So I'm sitting there, not at a loss for words, but I can use this as an opportunity for Zephyra to meander up behind me. Maybe this is where you can transition in on this part, because I'm at a loss for words right now.
Yeah. I take it Zephyra would have heard that, and I don't know if she would recognize anything about that.
Not up on identical bodies.
Yeah, that doesn't seem intriguing to her. You know, the whole wanting to bring somebody back, and if there's two people, how does that work? But like the creation of another person, maybe, would be something that would be interesting to her. So she would definitely probably pry more information on like what happened to you. What do you mean?
So Percy just kind of, and obviously like now once he starts to explain it, he just kind of like looks. He's like, okay, like how much do I get? How much trouble am I about to get into if I say exactly what's happening here? And he just says, one day I went home and there was another me sitting at the table, and apparently I'm now disposable. So I was thinking, if I was disposable, maybe somebody else was too.
Before you back, hold on there, friend. Okay, so back it up. You walk in your house. You see another person sitting at your dining room table, look exactly like you, and then what? You can't really leave us there with nothing, did you?
I ran.
You just ran out the door.
Well, yeah.
Can I make an insight check?
Yeah.
Insight. I have advantage, right?
I'll give you advantage because you're a cop. 2 days
20.
Yeah. He's telling the truth.
He's telling the truth.
Yeah.
Is there a way for me from that insight to understand if he believes that he is himself or type of situation?
If he believes he's himself or if he's the other person?
I'm having like a 6-day like Arnold Schwarzenegger breakdown. Does he believe that he is himself, or does he think that the other person is also him and he's having a paranoid moment? Or do I have to do more things to get to that point?
No, you don't have to do anything more to get to that point. I think Percy thinks both things are true, that he is himself, but then this other person is also him.
Okay. All right.
But not in like a Tyler Durden kind of thing. Just like, there he is. There's me.
Physically there. Okay. So,
yeah.
6 day. Got it. Okay. So I go, all right. Okay, we'll just start from the top of the books. Do you have any enemies?
Well, I do now. And he just puts his hands up. And he goes, wait. I'm going to say who they are. And he goes, well, as of now, my family, they're Gretains. And honestly, I just wanted to see if they were involved.
Okay.
What does your family do? First off, history check. Do I know, are they a criminal family? Is this a family that did anything? Do I know this from generic reports that I've been involved into? I don't know where my precinct region is compared to crime.
Yeah, so I think this is almost up to Griff, right? Because this is your backstory.
Right.
Like how famous is the family?
Well, the Gretains they're kind of an open secret family, I guess.
Okay. Like,
well, just for backstory purposes, Percy's parents made their wealth providing assistance to adjacent houses affiliated with various lords of Backfire. But as to their real intentions and motives and how they really made their money, he doesn't know. But kind of dovetailing with what he saw, he figures that it was very, very bad. And it still is.
I'd love to see how Rusty reacts to this information.
Rusty... What would Rusty know? Rusty's not that bright, and I don't think that Rusty is like somebody who's really tied into stuff.
He's just on the take.
Well, yeah. He's on the take though, and the Gretains aren't like totally on the up and up. So I think you see Rusty making a face, the face that he makes when he's trying to play dumb.
Got it.
Okay. He's like,
Okay,
Gratain, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
So I
Helping people.
take this So I see that look. I see his face, and I know that he does that when he's, because I know it's not an open secret. I know what he's doing. You may not know. I know what he's doing. I know what he's doing. And I know when he makes that face, like it's very Jim Gordon. Batman Begins 1. Like I know the other one's on the take, and I just deal with it. So I go into the library, and I proceed to go grab that paper that has all the names written on it and crossed out, and I bring it back into the room, and I sit down and I go, okay. And to the whole room I go, names that have been circled that looks like evidence. These are the names that we have, and then this is where we do a comparing note session.
Okay.
And then this is where I need to go. Unless the room explodes.
No. I'm trying to Google something because I just had an idea.
I said Batman Begins. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. No, I flashed it into the James Corden as Jim Gordon joke. But he never acknowledged. I can't believe that. I tagged him in the tweet and everything. Yeah. So you bring up the list, and you have the list kind of side by side with the journal. Are you showing the journal to Zephyra and Percy?
Yeah, because at this point, this whole room is now. I'm basically using my position I have with the two people that seem to be more interested in what's going on, and I'm much more in the mindset of if I let some information flow out here, I can pick a couple more pieces up. And I'm also tracking to see how everybody reacts to the notebook journal, the list of names and the writing whatsoever, and then seeing if what happens in the room.
Okay. You do see several references in the journal to M, like he's referring to people by their initials.
Sure.
So the reference is in there to M. And as you are looking around the room, you see a book up on the bookcase, like kind of high up in the top left corner on the bookcase, in the very edge, and the title of the book is Slow Thinking, Fast Acting and the author is Miriam Gratain. And that's where we stop for this week.
Wait.
So Tate's got a Gratain book.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
I wonder.
Yeah. So that's it for this week, like I said, or I guess this session, like I said. I want to hype Play for Progress really quickly, even though you're going to hear me do it again in the outro in a second. We're trying to raise money to make a sustainable D&D storytelling program for high school students in northeastern Pennsylvania. $5 could go a long way towards helping these kids through a lot of their problems. Thanks, everybody. Anybody want to plug anything? Plug your stuff? Plug your stuff? Anything?
Boring.
No.
Nothing this session, but
I'll go last once everyone else is done.
But yeah, you can find me, I guess, if you want to see what I tweet about when I'm not coming up with crazy stuff to say as Percy Grits. You can find me on Twitter at Griffmoy, GIFFMOY.
And buy that ebook.
And buy that ebook, which I'll talk about later.
Yeah.
Nice.
Tom?
Did you just track everything I'm doing on Twitter, Economy T2, CONMYT2. We'll have it in the link description below. Basically, I'm running around with my head chopped off. I'm doing 3 or 4 different panels this summer. I have 4 to 5 different D&D campaigns, somewhere between on and paused. So just Twitter will be the best place for me to tell you what's going on.
Yep. All over the world, living vicariously through you.
Yep.
I'm on Twitter too, but all I tweet about is getting pancakes at midnight and then the dog getting sprayed by a skunk, so.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's my life. There you go.
Yeah.
Or dogger.
No, so real quick, my dad lost his sense of smell when he was a boy, and when I lived there, this like 25 years ago probably, he used to we had this border collie, and he would go jogging with the dog, and let her off the leash. There were these woods by our house, and he would run a couple laps around the old elementary school. Obviously school is closed.
Church.
And he let the dog off the leash, and it would drive my mom crazy. because she would charge into the woods and like chase squirrels and stuff, and my dad never cared. But one day she got skunked, and my dad didn't know because he couldn't smell it. And so the poor dog, like her coat,
no.
she was almost all white, big bushy like border collie coat, and she was going crazy, like trying to rub it off of herself, off of her chest. And so he's just like jogging along like business as usual, jogs all the way home. And my mom's like, what? Like, somebody got skunked. That's awful. And then it's getting, like, closer and closer. And here comes my dad just, like, running down the sidewalk. The poor dog is going crazy. Her coat is, like, green from grass stains. So, a fun summer day in the Wilczak house.
Arlo got it in his face.
Yeah.
And I can tell he got it in his eye because his eye is like watering and sliming, trying to get it out. And like he was like burrowing his face into the carpet and everything when I let him in last night.
Poor Arlo.
He's gotten like 3 baths today.
Poor Arlo.
1 in tomato juice.
Hashtag thoughts and prayers for Arlo and the entire Grover family. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. See you soon. Bye.
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 Hi again, everybody. This is Dr. Andy Wilczak. I wanted to say thanks again for taking time to listen to the show. We really appreciate it. The reason why I wanted to make Strength Check into an Actual Play D&D podcast, when there are so many other Actual Play shows out there that are probably way better than anything that I could do, is I want to draw your attention to a project that I'm a part of here in northeastern Pennsylvania. We're calling it Play for Progress, and the idea is to use D&D and eventually, hopefully, probably other tabletop games to help middle school and high school kids who are struggling with mental health problems or addiction issues, or who feel alienated or isolated in some way. This part of Pennsylvania has been hit really, really hard by the opioid crisis. This part of Pennsylvania has a very high alcoholism rate. And this part of Pennsylvania is diversifying very quickly, and there are those who have capitalized on that to try to create more conflict between people. So we have a lot of kids here who are alone and who are suffering, and suffering mightily. So what we're doing, and the point of this message now, is to just let you know that we are raising money to make Play for Progress a sustainable force for good in the northeastern Pennsylvania area. If you have even $5 to spare for us, you can go to GoFundMe.com/playforprogress with hyphens between the words, so play-for-progress. And anything that you can give us will go a long way towards making us sustainable. Thank you.